Hello and welcome to the JustWill Talks, and we're back again. I'd like to start with a big thank you to everybody that has been showing support, been sharing, been commenting, liking and subscribing. And I'd like to just put a call out there. Can we please hit the subscribe button, because only 8% of you are actually subscribed. 92% of those giving me watch time and views, you're not subscribed, and it's not a good thing to see. So, getting on to today's show, we have another special guest with us today who goes by the name of...
Naomi Dawes.
And Naomi, what is it you do yourself as a creative?
So I'm a singer-songwriter, performer, producer. Yeah, that's pretty much me, really.
So
I'm not very good at like
summing up
myself.
what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get straight into it.
Yeah.
With some just get the discussion going. How did you come across like finding out you had musical talent and wanting to do this as like your
career.
thing? Yeah.
I was always interested in like playing the drums when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I think I just sort of I started playing drums when I was at school. When I started in like year 7, and then I joined the choir, and the teachers would pick me to do solos and stuff.
Yeah.
In front of the school, which is pretty scary. But yeah, and I think because I enjoyed it so much, and I'm quite lazy, so I just kind of was like, oh, okay, I'll do this then. Because I was getting so much good feedback about it, so I just carried on, and then obviously I really enjoy it, so it's just progressed from there, really.
So you kind of like, you done it in school,
Yeah.
and you was picked for solos and stuff, and you decided, you know what, I'm a bit lazy, I've got a talent, and this is something I really like, and you went for it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, like, I met you about a year and a half ago, filming...
End of 2018.
Yeah, 2018, weren't it? Something
Yeah.
around, was it like November, December time, something?
It was like 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah, something like not long before Christmas,
Yeah.
I do remember. I met you with Jimmy from
Yeah.
Cheapside, and we was filming your music video for Evergreen,
Yeah.
which was a single on your Muse EP.
Mm-hmm.
So going into the Muse EP, I thought the Muse EP was a great body of work, personally. I quite enjoyed it.
Thanks.
And I seen ways you marketed it, and you did really well with it. Could you give us a bit of a backstory on the context of Muse and what kind of the meaning behind it? How did Muse get created, and what does Muse even mean?
So I just kind of wanted to create a body of work that was done completely by myself. The only thing I had help with really is mixing and mastering, which I think is important. You know, you need to sound a good quality. But I'd sort of been in and out of bands and in duos, and everyone had just sort of let me down. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to prove to myself and everyone else that I can do it, and I don't have to rely on anyone else. So it sort of became my like goal really to create it. And I wrote Evergreen in 2016, and then the rest of the tracks through like a 4-month period in 2017. And yeah, I was sort of, what's the word? I was just sort of like procrastinating with it.
Yeah.
And then I broke up with my ex, and I just was sent on some motivation streak.
Yeah.
And just decided to finish it, get it recorded, get it mixed and mastered. So yeah, the songs are like a screenshot from that period in time. I think it's a very sort of youthful, maybe even like an innocent look, an outlook on the world and love and life.
Yeah.
And I think I've evolved a lot since then. But yeah, so like Evergreen was about like youth and love, and then I think as I wrote the songs, I started to get a bit more darker and a bit more serious, because it had been a year, and it was like tail end towards the end of my relationship where it did start to get a bit more on a down, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like more like where it was going downhill.
Yeah.
Things weren't working the way they were, sort of.
And That Bread, Prove You Wrong, which is like the last song I wrote for the EP, and that's a very sort of like pull and push, you know, the verses are very I'm done with this, I'm over it, whether it was a friendship, because as I said, I'd been messed about a lot. I was sort of like, I'm done with this, like done with this crap from people. And then the choruses are sort of that clinging on, still being like, oh, but do I want to go? And that was
of course,
very reflective of my life at that time.
Yeah, and I found the artwork was quite interesting, the way you shot the artwork, because in the artwork you're literally nude. You've got a back shot from it, so it's like just your back, and you've got your hair down. What sort of inspiration do you have for your artwork? What made you think of doing that for your artwork instead of doing like, I don't know, like some sort of image or
my face or something a bit more cliche or
I
would say normal, but you know. I think because I'd laid myself bare on that EP, which I feel like now is, I thought I'd laid myself bare, but I feel like now I haven't. But at the time it was very raw for me, and I just didn't, I thought the EP owed like I owed the EP to have raw artwork, and I thought, what's the rawest way of doing that? It's sort of being naked, and I love being naked, but it's sort of it's very like it's not sexualized. I think you can view it in any way you want, but it's just sort of the curves of my body and my hair, and it's sort of my hands are above my head, and it's in my dining room, which is where I wrote all of my EP basically.
Okay, yeah, so it's all at home, because I know you produced all of that as well, which coming from an artist myself and a producer, I personally wouldn't be able to produce a whole EP and then write to it and then record and release it, like, because by the time I've produced it, I'm tired of hearing it because you've heard the beat over. So that's that credit where credit's due, really. Take my hat off, because like producing your whole EP,
like, it is very monotonous, and I sort of hated the songs by the end of it, and then you have to push it and then perform it, so it's kind of like
it becomes more of a like, I can't think of a word, it's just like it's stuck. Like, for example, Lewis Capaldi these days, when I hear him on radio, I think, can we just shut the song up? Nothing against Lewis Capaldi, I absolutely love his music and I love his style,
but it's I've
heard it, and it's constantly played too much. So going forward with Muse, when you released it where you released the whole EP.
Yeah.
Was that on all digital platforms, was it?
Yeah.
So you released it all on digital platforms, and then you started releasing music videos, but you did them in an order sort of thing.
Yeah.
What was your sort of thinking with that? Was it like, where was you going with that? Because I know you released Evergreen, then you released one with...
Prove You Wrong.
Yeah, Prove You Wrong. And then
Who's That Girl?
Who's That Girl?
I didn't actually do a music video for You Are the Rain.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't do all tracks. So what is it that made you pick like those 3 specific tracks to do music videos for? And like, where was you going with it? Like, why did you do 3 music videos and space them out and go for it like that, really?
Because it is a bit of a strange way to do things, looking back. I think I just, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to do it my way, really. I thought I just want to put out a body of work, because I notice a lot of artists come out and they'll put out a single and then people are like, oh, this is sick, go to listen to it, and they've only got one thing to invest in, and then they don't put anything out for maybe 2 months, and even if they're a current artist, people can still forget. And I just wanted to put out a body of work so people knew who I was, and it's sort of like my stamp, like, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. And then I sort of I just wanted to do music videos, and I tried to do one every like 2 or 3 months, and then I think I just had problems with my videographer, and I sort of just scrapped doing a video for You Are the Rain, because I didn't have an idea for it, but also I was just about to start like promoing and like putting out for Side Piece, my collab with Mayday, so I was just like, I just kind of left it. But so I think with Prove You Wrong, I wanted to do, well, the music video I did was like this relationship that kind of turns bad. Yeah, I've seen
that, because you got Mayday in that one as well, performing and acting through it as well, don't you? Yeah. And then, so I've seen you've done that, and with Muse, I think it was quite good how you done it, in terms of you kept it alive.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like you said, release a body of work or a single, and they release all the things for it, and people may have attention for a certain amount of time, but then whilst waiting for the next piece, there's like nothing there. So I do quite like the approach you went with, because it kept the EP alive and kept it promoted. And now I want to go more on, so you mentioned Mayday. And I know you've done a single with El Sam as well. Only
the one and only.
One and only, that's it, one and only. And I've seen both of them, and I think they both work really well. And what I think's really good is they're both very different. Both collaborations in themselves are different. Like El Sam's got his own sound, and Mayday's a rapper, he's not a singer, so you've gone with a rapper as well. How did you come about collaborations, and like, for anyone watching now who may be wanting to sort of
collaborate,
get into music, collaborate more, or they're doing music and they want to find collaborations, what was the ways you went about getting collaborations, and you went in terms of building them relationships with people?
I think, well, me and Sam have known each other since I was 16.
Okay,
So I was like, I'm not going to do the maths. That's a while. I think
only a couple of years,
Thanks, mate. So that was like 6 years ago. And we've always wanted to do a song together. So I think we just finally got to do it. Lockdown hit and we decided to do it. Mayday I met technically at the beginning of last year, sort of around the time I met you, really. And I think I'd wanted to do collab. He was my first collab. I wanted to just do a collab, and I think it's just asking, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to do it, go and ask. I think networking's really important. I know you can't go to events at the minute and network, but you can still look at Birmingham artists, you know, follow hashtags, find artists, and just, you know, DM and say, I love your stuff, I'd really like to work with you. And some people will want to work with you, some people won't, some people will want money for it, some people will do it for free. I think it's just building up a connection, and I would suggest doing it with people that you want to. Don't feel like you need to collab with everyone.
Yeah.
I think if you want to do that, that's great, but I feel like you should invest, because I feel like if you spread yourself too thin, it can show in your work. Whereas if you think, right, I want to collab with 10 people this year and 10 artists that I love from all different music backgrounds, you know, I think stepping out of your genre, if you feel you have one, or your style or whatever, is important. You just meet new people, you know what I mean? Like, I know so many people from so many different genres, and I feel like I could collab with all of them and would make great music.
Yeah, that's great, to be fair. Like, networking,
Yeah.
I would say myself, is very vital. I do quite a lot of things myself, and I agree with you on that. So yeah, you guys listen at home, networking, message them, make sure you let them know you want to work with them. So, moving forward, you mentioned events, and you mentioned what's going on right now. We can't really have events. So, before COVID, I noticed you was doing quite a lot of events. You were doing pubs, open mics. You was going to all sorts of events, networking events as well. I know you went down to the BMAs, was it? You went down to, and you've done quite a lot of stuff. So I know you're doing quite a lot there. How did you get yourself into that scene? Before we move further about how COVID affected it, how did you get yourself into that scene? Like, because for some people, going and standing on stage is absolutely terrifying. It's frightening, and they wouldn't know their ways of getting to that level, or even ways of getting themselves onto a stage or getting themselves involved in open mics. How did you go about it personally?
So when I was at college, we sort of used to go to this place that was like a music bar, and it'd just be an open mic every Monday, and we'd go up. So I think it's really important to go and do open mics. You've got to start somewhere. You know, I think it's so important to perform. You can do as much rehearsal as you want in your bedroom or in a studio or whatever, but nothing beats actually getting out and performing. I feel like you could do 100 hours of rehearsing, but that
100 hours and 1 hour to like 1 hour performance,
1 hour performance can like top that in like in an hour.
Yeah,
so literally I think it's all about having that you just got to get out there and do it. I think it's hard, but if you love what you do, you've got to push yourself and do things that scare you. You know, there's a lot of times that I've got up on stage and I've been pooping myself, you know what I mean? But you just got to do it. No one knows how you feel inside. You could be thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But as long as you've got your persona up and it's like, you know, as long as you've got your composure in that and you pretending, put on an act, you know, until you're comfortable. But I think it's just about getting out there. I think it's really down to networking and research. Do your research. If you want open mics, there's a website, like you can search. If you're based in Birmingham, you can search, or wherever you're based, London open mic nights, Birmingham, Manchester, wherever you are, you can just search them, and there's lists of open mic nights to go to. And networking events, you know, just get out there and do it. As I said, everyone's got to start somewhere. You know, I think back to the gigs I did, like the 3 songs that I did at the open mics, and I'm kind of like, but I had to start somewhere, you know, and that's where you progress. You know, you start to meet people. People come down to these open mic nights from different places to promote their open mic night or their show, or to scout for talent. So you just got to get out there and do that. Yeah, because
I've noticed every time you've done an open mic, your following's gone up a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So I've noticed like that helps as well in terms of following. And in terms of following, like social media wise, you're doing quite a lot on there as well, which we're going to go into a bit later on. So moving forwards from doing them before COVID, how did COVID affect you? Because COVID's had a mixed effect from what I've seen on many people. Like, it's been negative and positive. And like, what sort of negatives and positives did you have from COVID yourself? Like, obviously, I know not being able to perform's a massive shoot in the foot. It's a killer really. But like, what sort of negatives did you have, and what sort of challenges did you have that you kind of found a way to overcome? Because I noticed there was a few things you did, which I'm not going to mention because you're going to. There's a few things you've done on your Instagram, so on, so forth, and your Facebooks and like all your social medias, which kind of didn't necessarily overcome completely, but it overcame. Addressed it. Yeah, it addressed the situation and the issue, and you managed to do something in place of going out and performing. Yeah.
So I think positives. I'll start with positives. I think it's helped me grow as a person. I think you can get too comfortable as a person, but also a creative. You know, you're so used to getting up and going to gigs, and you sort of fall into that pattern and think, oh, well, this is working, I'll keep doing it. But I think you have to continue to change up your headset, because, you know, 10 years ago, live performances were fine.
Yeah.
You know, just doing that could get you signed, but now it's all about having a social media presence, and your performance live doesn't necessarily dictate to you getting signed.
Yeah, because you've got to have like a stream count and sales, and there's many different things that they put to it these days.
So a lot of companies, you know, record labels or whatever, want to see the numbers before they're even going to start to sign. So I think it's kind of good, because it sort of makes you shake yourself up and think, okay, come on, how can we redo this? And I think it was a bit of a kick for me, because last year I performed so many times, like 20 plus times all over Birmingham, from like tiny little garden pub venues to like main stages. I performed at a festival, like main stage at a festival last year. So I think, yeah, it was kind of like frustrating, because you think, oh, I just got my momentum going.
Yeah.
But I think I tried to be involved in online stuff as much as I could. You know, I did the Live Vibe Festival, where I recorded in my dining room like I think it was like a 15-minute set of like 4 songs.
Yeah, I've seen that, where you had like your little mic set up and you just filmed yourself doing the songs and performing them, yeah?
So I think doing stuff like that was really, I mean, it's completely different, you know, you don't get the vibes that you do when you're performing.
You don't get the audience reaction live there, do you really?
No, and it's really based on that like cycle as well. But I think it was a nice experience, and it you know, keeps you active, and I think keeping active is important. I was also recently, my music video was played on This Is My City Festival.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Online,
I've seen that,
and that over last weekend.
What video was it again? It brought
Don't Suit
that
You.
Was it Don't Suit You, the one where you've got like low, is it like graphic? It's like, is it blood that's supposed to be like the black ink sort of thing?
It's actually like black paint.
See, I thought it was some sort of paint dripping. And that's another thing with your visuals. Like, every visual I've seen of yours, it's had a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah.
Even like down to like the clothing and the scenery. Everything's been thought down to a T, and I've noticed that. So like, would you say that's a major importance as well? Like, being able to have some direction and creative thought on your videos, because like, it is what brings it to life, isn't it? Literally, you just said, Don't Suit You, and the first thing that come to my mind was the black and white images where the paint's coming over you, and you got, is it Mayday's hands?
Yeah, Mayday.
Yeah, I think I've seen it in the description, hands Mayday, and you had his hands and stuff in the video and stuff. So that's another thing, so like, you collaborated with Mayday, but you've had him acting in 2 of your videos now, is it?
3.
3 videos. So like, collaborations, it can be more than just music, can't it, as well, in terms of like your videos and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, ask, you know, what I found out recently, and I didn't actually know at the time, was to like bring people to your music videos, if you're not finding that you've got a lot of traction, is put someone who's got a bigger following of you, someone who's, if you can, famous or well known in your scene, in your video, because it gives you
it gives that little bit of, because they're going to share it as well, aren't they, for taking part.
Yeah, which I didn't know at the time, but is a really great tip, I think.
Yeah, something you came across from doing so.
Yeah.
So like, This Is My City.
Yeah.
How did you come across them? Like, because I've seen like several people on like their little festival where they were doing like was it like a 3-day live broadcast?
Yeah,
something
of like food, music.
Yeah, it was quite a mixture of different things. Basically like a festival, but
online.
Was it on YouTube? Was it all?
You know what?
I can't actually remember what it was on.
I think it was YouTube, and it was like live over the.
Yeah, it was live over
times over 3
like
days.
3 days, weren't it? So how did you come across them in terms of like, because I've seen a lot of like Instagram pages popping up doing these, join our live, spit your bars, sing your song, do your thing, like showcase yourself.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen many people doing online festivals like such. And This Is My City, they done their festival, of course. How did you get into did they contact you, or did you contact them?
So
like, how did it all come about?
Yeah, so I have a booking agent. Her name's Vanessa. She's amazing. She actually started.
Shout out to Vanessa.
She does Live Vibe. I don't know if you've heard of Live Vibe.
Live Vibe. I think, did you do a show with them at some point?
Loads of different artists.
I've seen it on, because I've noticed you like always put up like your monthly shows. Yeah. You tried to put them a month in advance so you can show people and people can get to them and stuff.
Yeah. But she was like my first. She she like gave me my first proper gigs that weren't like, well, it was technically the open mic, but it was on an actual showcase. And she's my friend, you know, Sam's manager. So she just comes to me with certain opportunities, and they'd asked her on very short notice to if she wanted to provide like the music for it. And I think it's really nice that they did music videos, because I feel like a lot of the time, especially on the festival or like a live stream or whatever, it's live music, which is nice. But I think it's really nice to showcase a different side of creatives.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
and it kind of like I seen on your Instagram, rebirths some videos as well. Like you were saying, like it kind of rebirthed the it Don't Suit You.
Yeah.
Very bad memory, so sorry. Like, but the Don't Suit You music video, I seen you were quite happy that it got rebirthed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm guessing like you had some traction from that as well.
I haven't checked, but you know, the fact that my music video has been put on a platform is nice, you know, and the fact that it was looped for 3 days. So if people had been part of it for the 3 days, or like it was looped for a few times a day, so if someone was there for the whole day, they'd remember the video.
They end up seeing the video, they remember it, they remember the song, but the lyrics of the image sort of thing.
Yeah,
so that's quite it's quite interesting, because I did see quite a lot of things on Instagram Live throughout COVID and lockdown, and it's quite interesting that like you managed to get them positives out of it. And like what you were saying, a lot of artists don't realise you can run at the scene like a bull chasing after a red flag. You can run at it, and for some people that's their working tactic. That's how they've blew. Like for example, you've got like the likes of H in the rapping scene, where he was just releasing music, he got noticed off one song and he just kept charging and kept going. But for many people that isn't necessarily the case. Like there is that time where you need to step back, pause, reflect, deconstruct the whole vision, and then reconstruct it and come back even stronger. So like the fact you've gone and done that during COVID, like big up, because like it is a big thing to do. In terms of negatives in COVID, I know we've always spoke about this, but it's camera don't love us. So in terms of negatives, what sort of negatives have you faced through COVID? In terms of like, because you've had positives, you reflected, you did some like reflection on yourself, and it's done you justice, I'm guessing, because like you've now got a bit more vision and plan for what's going forward, sort of. So what sort of negatives did you face? Because I know you weren't able to perform, which is a big downside. I know for many people there was quite a lot of negatives in lockdown. Myself personally, I lived on my own, and I still live on my own, and it's like you can't see people, all you can do is phone call, FaceTime. It's not the same. It just doesn't match up, the energy isn't there. And then it's weird coming back into society. So like, what sort of negatives did you face through COVID, and how did you go about trying to overcome them and trying to keep yourself in that positive state? Because I know you was doing quite a lot before, and you was positive and you was active and moving, and then it all just come to a
hope
standstill, nothing's moving. So
because when lockdown hit, I had like 4 or 5 gigs booked and cancelled in like a second, and it was like and then people are like, oh no, it'll be fine, we'll just move it till like June, and I was like, it's not gonna. It's not just gonna be a 1 week thing or a couple week thing. And even now, like there's gigs September, October, November, and I'm like, I'm still really sceptical, because even if the gigs are going ahead, I don't know if people are gonna come out.
Yeah, of course, because some people are a bit weary about getting into society still. I know that much. But
so like negatives. We were just talking before the camera went off about like FaceTiming and stuff, and it's such a great way of communicating with people that you can't see, but when it's on such a regular basis, it sort of desensitises you. So I've been FaceTiming a lot. I never really did FaceTime before lockdown.
Absolutely hate it. I prefer the old school phone call, because FaceTime, you've got to look at yourself and you're like, did I really look that bad when I woke up this morning?
Yep, I know that one. Greasy hair in a messy bun.
The place, literally.
So I mean, I quite liked it at the beginning. I thought it was nice, you know, as I said, I'd never really done it before, but the person I did the most FaceTime with, and still do FaceTime a lot with, it sort of makes the relationship desensitised. So we'd meet up in person of the small amounts of time that we could.
Of course.
Or like, and that's the thing about like having to meet up in a park. You've only got like 6 hours if the weather's good, or you know what I mean.
That exactly. In Birmingham, weather good. They don't shake hands anymore. You get 1 week a year if you're lucky.
Exactly. I mean, the weather's horrible today.
It's horrible today. It's all coming down, man.
But so like I think having to FaceTime it just desensitizes, and I'd see that person in real life and I'd be like, are you real? Like, I'm so used to looking at them on a screen, and it's really sad, I think. But I like actively I've made the like I've wanted to make the change to maybe do FaceTimes now that we're able to do FaceTimes less and meet more. So maybe FaceTime once a week instead, and like so you can get
that sort of
normality
back, bring everything back to normal.
So I think that's the downside, because it's desensitizing people from people, and you really need that human to human contact.
See, it's crazy you say that, because like a lot of young people, that's all they do to socialise. Even when COVID weren't a thing, they were on FaceTime to their friends instead of going to the park, because the park's not as fun as it used to be apparently. So it is crazy you say that, like desensitise people. I think I'm going to try and get a guest on that is in their teens to talk about it, because it would be interesting to see their perspective.
Yeah, because they've grown up with phones.
We grew up, like, even though I'm young, I'm like 18, so I shouldn't be talking like I'm 60, but I grew up with no phones, I grew up with no tablets. I had like old school family. You used to go to the park and make mud pies and run around.
100%. I never played video games. I was always in the garden.
Literally, like, I had a console, but it was for after tea time. My mum would not let us sit down on the console and play it all day long. It would be, you're not having your controllers till after tea time, and you've only got like an hour or 2 hours before bedtime, between tea time and bedtime. So you can have your little bit of fun then, because you're indoors, it's dark outside. But during the day, go around the corner, make some friends, make friends with people that are in the community. Like, go out there, and a lot of young people ain't doing that. So it would be definitely interesting, because it's crazy how you say that, because I genuinely felt the same. But a lot of young people I know said, oh, we didn't see no difference, because they've got their PlayStations, their phones, and so on.
Maybe they've been better off though, because I have been used to it. I just think, I hope there's no adverse effects, because I don't want people to. I think as humans and just as people, man, we need to like connect.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, connection's so important.
I think the human race is probably one of the most social, like, races and beings on like the whole of Earth. Like, even more social than many animals out there. So it's like, it is vital, isn't it, being able to see each other in person and being able to physically be in the now, rather than on your phone and they're all the way somewhere else and you're just looking at a screen. You're not able to. It isn't.
It's also not good for your eyes.
Like, definitely your eyes.
Blue light.
Constantly in your eye.
I've had to buy blue light glasses, because I could feel my eyes straining every night, FaceTime.
Yeah, from going on like a phone with LEDs in it, and it's kind of bad. So like, going forward into like performances, how did that affect you? Because I know before lockdown, I can imagine you had bookings, because you already do months in advance beforehand. So I can only imagine you had bookings, because I did mine myself, and I don't perform as much. So it'd be crazy. Like, it'd be interesting to hear how it affected you, someone who is predominantly a performing artist.
Yeah, so I was meant to perform in London for the first time.
Oh wow, London's amazing. I performed there. The atmosphere, it's like. It's crazy what they say. People who don't know you or aren't from your own town support you a lot more. And when you get the chance to go London, and I'm touching wood, it happens very soon, because you're gonna love it, like, genuinely. But carry on. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. So I was gonna perform in London first time, so I was really excited about that. And that had already been pushed back a few times. And I was planning on performing in like a different country, because I knew someone who was doing like a residency in a different country, and they were like, come out. Which thankfully I was going to go in February, and thankfully I didn't, because
you would have been stuck there then, because by March, April, we was all in a bit of a predicament, and they shut us all down, didn't they?
So everything happens for a reason. I was going to do my first Pride this year, and it was one, I think it was Cannock, and they'd started it because there was a lot of there was a rise in crime for like LGBTQ plus community. So they started to sort of bring awareness and support in that, and I was obviously I love everyone. I want everyone to feel loved, and I wanted to be part of that. I was so excited to sort of show my love and support. So having those things that I was really invested in, like, I'm thinking, oh, this is a first in my career. Having that taken away was just kind of devastating, really. And
your body positivity as well, that's something I genuinely want to talk about as well, because a lot of young people, like we messaged about it, a lot of young people, and I work with young people myself, and especially like young females, they're really affected by, we need to look like Mia Khalifa, we need to look like Kylie Jenner, we need to be this, and it really does get to me because personally, beauty isn't necessarily what's on the outside, it's what's within.
Inside.
Like, everything's within. Like, you can be the most best looking person with the crappiest personality,
you're ugly.
And I'm just gonna want to punch you in your face. You're ugly straight to me.
You just become ugly.
And then another thing which gets to me is like, I don't knock having surgery and correctional surgery. I want to go get my teeth done myself. Same. So it's like, I understand why people might want to get certain things done to better themselves, but then they don't pass it off as, oh, this is our surgery. They try to pass it off as, this is natural.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of young girls looking at these women who are trying to pass off their straight noses and straight teeth and veneers as natural. This is what you have to be natural, and they're there trying to get these big bums, these teeth, these everything, and they're like, well, I can't get that, so I don't like myself. I'm ugly.
Yeah. And you're not. Oh my god. Exactly. You know, like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I think media warps beauty so much. And you know, in the 90s, having thin brows and being like anorexically thin was a fashion trend. And like the fact that we're completely changing our bodies for a fashion trend boggles my mind.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
You know, there's things about my body that I don't like. I think there's everyone feels that way about something, but they're personal things. That's not been dictated to me via,
of course,
social media or media. And I really think beauty if you think I'm going to be beautiful forever, then I'm sorry, but unless you're beautiful on the inside, I think you just...
It's not going to happen, because you age, everyone ages.
And that being old doesn't make you unattractive.
Exactly, it may make your outer shell crinkle, it may make you have a bit of wrinkles, but just those wrinkles don't determine how beautiful you are, because I've met like many old people are a lot more beautiful than young people, because they've got much of a sweeter soul.
When you have a beautiful personality that emanates from you,
it just
you
overpowers everything.
You are so attractive. It doesn't matter if you've got crooked teeth or, you know, thin eyebrows instead of thick eyebrows, or smaller lips, or not a curvy body, or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. And I think while you're changing your natural makeup to look at, I mean, if you're doing it for yourself, good. As you said, like about surgery, if you want to do that sort of thing for yourself, then that's absolutely fine, but be doing it for you, not because society tells you to do so. You know, like, and a lot of these perfect body types and ideals aren't even real.
Yeah, that's
injections,
literally what I mean. Like,
taking bones out your body to become a certain shape, or taking steroids to get muscles and stuff, just not the money. But you know, it is so much of it isn't natural.
It is crazy, and the thing is, I wouldn't care people getting it done, and I don't care about people getting it done. No. Like I said, I want to fly to Turkey next year and get my teeth sorted. I want to get like all of this done, but it's like, I'm not gonna then walk around with my nice bright white teeth that are all straight and go on like I was born with that. I will. If someone asked me, was that surgery? I'll be like, yeah, I did. I went and got veneers put in. I went and got teeth taken out. I got things done, and I'd quite happily do that, because I'd be like, you know what? I'm happy with what I've got now. Yeah. But don't think just because I've got it, you've then got to have it to be perfect. No. Because a lot of women, they'll go get these lip injections, and lip injections are one thing I am kind of against because of how bodged up they can become, and there's a lot of dangers when it comes to it, definitely. So dangerous. And even
butt lifts, people go to foreign countries like to get it cheaper, and then they're botched.
They end up all botched, or they've got like now swollen legs, they can't walk on their legs no more. So we're going into the single, which I was on the way today on the train, and as you know, we're both messaging each other about delays of trains and headache. So in terms of your newest release, I don't want to give the name away yet. I want you to be revealing that. It's your single, not my place to say. So, but I was listening to it on the train here. I thought, you know what? You sent it me a few days ago, and I thought, you know what? I can listen to it today. But with the amount of stuff I do on a day-to-day basis, is it going to stick? I want to listen to it fresh in the moment. So I listened to it this morning, and it really, really pulled me away. Like, I've listened to your music and seen you evolve from Evergreen, which was like your first ever known song, to the next song, which is called
Skin and Bone.
Did you produce that one yourself as well?
Yeah, well, so I basically, what I've started to do over the last almost a year now, which is crazy because I still think we're in March. But
oh, do you know what? if it weren't for the fact that I knew today was Thursday because I was filming on a Thursday, I wouldn't know today was Thursday at all.
But yeah, so over about the past year, I've been taking my music to an engineer, Casey Orange, from Bay 10 Studios. And
shout out, Casey.
Shout out. Yeah, so I still produce all my music and basically make like the bare bones of the song, and then because I know how I want it to sound, but I'm not able to do that yet, I've started taking it to him, and we sort of engineer music together. We work together on Don't Suit You as well, and so I still created my baby, but he sort of engineered it, polished it up, mixed and mastered.
Yeah, so you kind of like put the cake in the oven and he set all the temperature settings sort of thing.
Yeah.
If we're talking,
he iced it.
Yeah, he iced the cake basically. Yeah. I am gonna play like a little 30-second of it. Yeah. Nothing major because we don't want to give too much to anyone. Because you guys better be tuning into Skin and Bone when it comes out. So, what was your creative thoughts? Because I know when it comes to a song and writing. Personally, myself, people ask me why I haven't released so much recently.
Yeah.
And the answer is, quite literally, I don't wake up and say to myself, I'm going to write a song. I wake up and I feel I want to write a song.
Yeah.
Something may have happened in the last week.
Yeah.
And I wake up one morning and you just have that feeling. Like, if you're an artist, I know you probably understand exactly what feeling I'm on about.
Yeah.
But every other artist out there will understand it. People who listen to music may not, because they don't write, but you have to have that feeling and that sort of, to be able to conjure up a track. And there's always, I'm not going to say always, because today's modern span of music isn't necessarily meaningful in many ways with a lot of people, but I know for yourself as an artist, all of your music has meaning or some sort of reason behind it. So what made you conjure up Skin and Bone?
So I was just sat one night. I think it's like a year old now, which is crazy.
Wow.
A year old.
The best thing is it sounds so modern and fresh, and it kind of sounds current as well, if you know what I mean. Like, well, not even kind of, it does. It sounds current, and this is crazy, like, to say, like, you wrote this a year ago or done this a year ago, and you bring it out now. A lot of artists do that as well. We make our music time beforehand. Yeah,
I wanted to put it out like May time, but you know.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so I was sat just sort of making a beat, and I'd already written some lyrics. For like, I'd written like some lyrics, put them in my phone, forgot about them. Started making this beat. Bum 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 bum.
Yeah, the little.
And I was like, oh, I like this. This is like a bop, and then like a hit, like put in the drums, and I built it up.
It's very upbeat. That's one thing which like blew me away, because a lot of your music, not to say it's downbeat or anything,
it's just like
it's not. It's more
airy.
I would walk down the street. I wouldn't run down the street to it sort of thing. This, I'd quite happily get on my pedal bike and be hitting the same speed as the bus down the road. So it's like literally. Like, what made you go for that difference as well? Like,
well, I mean, I love Muse. I don't want to slag it off because I don't think you should do that with your work. But it was a period of my life that I wanted to, you know, write about and sort of encapsulate. And I'm not that person. Like, I feel like I was a girl back then, and I'm a woman now. At the beginning of 2020, I released. You can find it on my Instagram at Naomi Dawes Music. There was a little video released of me singing a cappella. I'm not a girl anymore, and definitely not the girl next door. And that was me sort of putting my stamp on, saying,
I'm transitioning now.
Things are coming, like things are changing, because I'm not writing from that young girl perspective, or I'm not writing from that point. Like, I'm a woman with
you've evolved now.
Yeah.
You've experienced like life, and you've got a different outlook. I know, like myself, I have a different outlook on life to many 18-year-olds because I'm self-independent and everything. And it's like, I know that transition's crazy. Like, you go from, once upon a time, you'd be worried about boy drama. Nowadays, you're more worried about what's in the fridge and whether you've got to go shopping, sort of
money.
thing. Yeah, money's a big thing as well. It's crazy, like,
So I think I just had this big evolution, and then so the song is based about the chorus is based about a situation I had probably like a few weeks earlier, and it's sort of, I just wrote it. I started like I always sort of have my headphones in while I'm working, and then just sort of do a little demo-y sort of version.
Yeah.
And I heard it and I was like, instant click, like here's the change that we wanted here, like it's like, here. This is it. Because I wrote Don't Suit You in December last year.
Yeah.
Which obviously came out early this year, but Skin and Bone like was really the marker.
Yeah, like this is the transition.
Yeah.
I'm moving from girl to woman, grown.
Yeah. Yeah. So I the next day I sort of did a demo version of it, and it was all sort of, I was like, this is a banger. Like, I've never really felt like that about my music before, but I was literally sat there like, this is a banger.
Yeah.
I'm fully in love with this song. I'm vibing it. It's where my music wants to go. I wanted to do more upbeat stuff and stuff that people could dance to. And I was like, this is it.
This is, do you know what?
Perfect time for you to play it.
Yeah, literally, I've decided. You've spoke, like, I've spoke highly of this track and you spoke highly of this track.
Yeah.
I think the audience deserves a little teaser, but I'm only giving you a little teaser because, like Naomi said, you need to go over to her Instagram, Naomi Dawes Music.
At Naomi Dawes Music.
At Naomi Dawes Music. Everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You'll find her, 100%. Even on YouTube, Naomi Dawes, the minute you search it, her profile comes up. You've done very well with tagging and getting yourself to come up in them senses.
That's another tip. If you're trying to create a social platform, use all the same. My website, Naomi Dawes, my YouTube, Naomi Dawes, every social media platform, Naomi Dawes Music. It's very easy to find me.
Yeah, and then when people go on Google, even so like on Google, when you Google an artist, it comes up saying artist and links everything.
Yeah.
And if it's this, and every time you click on them, they are literally the same name, aren't they?
Yeah.
So going into it, we're gonna give them like, going just from the intro basically. We'll go straight from the intro and just give them a little. It's not liking me today.
I'm sick of drinking, so I'll sip it slowly. Drown my sorrows, oh, it's so holy. I'm walking bare feet down our glass street. I'm so wide-eyed where you might be.
So that's all they're getting, literally. Sorry guys.
That's it. Sounds...
I know you really wanted the whole thing really then, but you can't have it. You just can't have it. I can't give it to you. I'm not allowed to give it to you. And Naomi specifically told me like, you guys have got to go and watch the video because she's put a lot of effort in this. And literally, boom, 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 boom. It's there. The boom.
Just where you like turned it down. It's like boom,
yeah,
boom,
it's about a
boom.
jumping.
Yeah.
Literally, that's why I turned it down because. You guys, you need to go and check this when it comes and get to that bit and watch the drop and watch how you go from sitting down to jumping up and your hair's all over the place. Like, I'll do it now, but I'll probably break something, so I'm not going to. But like, literally, it is boom bap. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like,
but that's sort of, sorry to interrupt you, but like that sort of style, that's what I grew. I mean, I've grown up listening to all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But that sort of pounding drum, like that, and that like boom, boom, cha, boom, 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 cha.
Yeah.
Through the choruses.
Yeah.
It's just like, I want music that makes me want to move as well.
Yeah, of course. Because
really
as an artist, I
that.
think that's another thing. As an artist, a lot of people don't realize like, a lot of artists out there, and I say this out of like. The best bit of my heart, like I don't mean it in a matted way or a nasty way, but a lot of artists don't make music for themselves no more. No. They make music for money, for income, and literally they're selling themselves in a way like not down the same lines as a prostitution, sort of selling your body.
It kind of is.
But you're a music prostitute, and that's my new word. Like I'm putting that out there. A music prostitute. If like you're making music, but it's not for you. It's not for your own enjoyment.
No.
It's
for someone else's.
And like, are you like some people get far doing it, and fair play, carry on. But I don't necessarily support that, and this is why I says I've got to get Naomi on the show. She does music because she loves music. Yeah. She has meaning behind everything she's saying, and on top of that, she's a straight Patreon for the female embodied, like empowering females.
Yeah. Well, everyone too, you know, like, I want everyone to feel good.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't care how you identify, whether you are religious, not, whatever. I don't care. I just want everyone to feel good and feel loved and know that, like, you know, just that vibe, man. I really don't care. Like, whatever your background is, I like, not that I don't care, like I do care about you, but I mean, like, I just don't care. I want everyone to feel
if you've got a
good.
heartbeat, that's it. If you've got a heartbeat, you're a human, animal, dog, cat, anything. 'Cause I know you've gone down the vegan line as well, so it's like you're caring more than just the humans now.
No,
it's
I care about
the whole
planet.
Exactly, literally. So we're gonna wrap it up, and I want to do a little thing before we wrap it up.
Okay.
I want you to give your best piece of advice to anyone who's trying to do anything really, like whether you're doing music or a 9 to 5. I want it to be a broader spectrum, because obviously on this podcast at the moment I've had 2 musicians now.
Yeah.
You're the second musician, but I'm not just going musically wide. I'm going to be expanding with companies, businesses, organisations. What sort of advice would you give to anyone coming up doing anything they want to do? Like what advice would you give? Because a lot of people, they're very not naive. They're very naive to the opportunity. They don't understand that like certain things may be dragging them back from doing what they need to do. So what piece of advice would you give to anyone?
I think it's important to know that there are people who have more knowledge than you. You aren't the smartest person in the room, and if you are the smartest person in the room, you need to get out of that room and move into another one. So that's really important. Keep yourself grounded. Have goal lists. You know, I have a whiteboard, like a bit like that one, not that big, but have one in my bedroom with all my goals on. I have a goal book where I wrote down and manifest actual goals that I want to have. I think it's really important to do things like that. Set yourself a plan, keep motivated, get yourself on in a routine. I think when you're self-employed, it's so easy to go, I'll get up like later and then I'll just work later and then. But if you give yourself, which I'm guilty of doing myself, but if you give yourself a structure where you get up and work from 9 till 3, 9 till 5, 9 till 6, 9 till 2, whatever it is, where you've got your structure, you're going to be more productive. Definitely. I think you've got to just stay on target for that. I'm just trying to think, like, what I do. Every day, I write down a list or think of a list, depends what I'm doing, on 10 things that I'm grateful for. And that really grounds you and starts your day, because that can be, I'm grateful for the fact that I've got money in my bank, I've got water, food, electric, social media, a phone, all that sort of stuff. You can, it can be that, I'm grateful for my good looks, my charm, whatever you want.
Kind of just brings
as
you
long
back.
as you're setting yourself up for the day, that's the most important thing. That's my advice.
It's been great having you, Naomi. Before we
me.
wrap up, I really want you to shout out all your socials. I know you've done it already, but just in case people weren't listening, because we get some people that don't listen.
Yeah. So it is at Naomi Dawes Music. That is NaomiDawes and the music. You can spell that. That's easy.
Okay, she spelled all that for you. So there's no reason why you can't or shouldn't go and follow Naomi. She's an amazing being, does great music, and empowers every human being on earth. So that is it for today's show. There is going to be links to Naomi's music in the description. Her socials are going to be in the description as well, in case you're too lazy to actually go on the platform, which I know you're going to go on after this. Just click the link, click follow, you're on it. And watch out for Skin and Bone, my people. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. Don't want to see only 8% of you subscribed. I want to see at least 50. Come on, 50% of you. Like, it's not a lot to ask.
It's only a button.
Just click it. Come on. Click it. Click the little bell next to it, and happy days. See you all soon, and thank you again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.